This week in the news, a police officer with the 104th Precinct was struck with a brick during an altercation at a construction site in Mazpeth. A stop work order had been issued to the site. After the city's Department of Buildings and Environmental Protection arrived at the scene, police were called regarding a claim of harassment. During a dispute, an officer was struck with a brick, prompting him to retaliate with mace. The officer was listed in stable condition at Wyckoff Hospital, and police arrested Brooklyn's Edward Wisk on charges of assault and resisting arrest. In other news, the Queen's Tribune held a panel discussion at St. John's University with legal experts on gun violence and the relevance of the Second Amendment. Participants included judges and representatives for the Legal Aid Society, NYPD, and Queens District Attorney's Office. Quote, "Gun violence in the United States is a major problem," said the Honorable George Grasso, a supervising judge in New York's criminal court. Quote, "As of January 24th, we've had 11 separate shootings at schools in this country. This is not normal, nor should it be accepted as normal. But I think the Second Amendment is relevant because it is part of the Constitution, whether people agree or disagree with it." State Assemblyman Edward Bronstein and Councilman Paul Vallone said that they are opposed to a proposal that would create a Department of Correction facility at Bayside's Fort Totten. Bronstein said that according to a document his office received, the city has moved to reuse a portion of the fort to create a permanent home for a DOC training academy. Quote, "It is absolutely unacceptable that a proposal of this magnitude was not shared with elected officials and the community board for over 2 years," Bronstein said. And police discovered a 93-year-old woman and her 66-year-old son, whose names have not been released by the NYPD, dead in their Forest Hills apartment on Sunday. Police said that there were no apparent signs of trauma. The city's medical examiner will determine the cause of death. And those are the top story this week in Queens. And don't forget to pick up your copy of the Queens Tribune's official guide to Queens, also known as the Blue Book, which contains listings and information for a number of borough services, including fire and police stations, libraries, elected officials, parks, public transportation, hospitals, and more. This week's Queens Tribune news video is sponsored by Zwenger Passeri Radiology, located at 23135 Merrick Boulevard in Laurelton.